everyone, welcome to Adventures in TV Land.
For this video, we've come to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to check out Fort Mifflin. In 2020, I had a layaway at the Philadelphia International Airport. And when I flew in to the airport, I saw out my window, the airplane window, what looked like a fort below. And I was like, that looks kind of cool. I'd like to check that out someday. And so I've been planning and wanting to come back ever since then. Now, Fort Mifflin is a fort that was originally built pre-Revolutionary days. It was used by the American forces during the Revolutionary War. In the fall of 1777, about 200 men were garrisoned here. And here at Fort Mifflin, along with two other forts, one across the river, Fort Mercer, and one other fort, they kept the British Navy at bay from getting to Philadelphia for about 6 weeks. Now, at this time in history, General Washington and the American forces, they had not escaped completely away from Philadelphia. General Howe was in Philadelphia. He needed supplies and reinforcements, and the forts were keeping the British Navy from delivering those supplies to Philadelphia. Between November 10th, 1777 and November 15th of 1777, 3 ships in the Delaware River, armed with 158 cannon, and 3 additional ships on the other side of the river, armed with 51 cannon, began firing at Fort Mifflin with the largest bombardment of the entire Revolutionary War. This just tells about the importance of Fort Mifflin and its role in the American Revolution. On November 15th, 1777, it was reported that in 1 hour, over 1,000 cannonballs were fired at the fort. Major Simeon Thayer evacuated Fort Mifflin's garrison to Fort Mercer across the river with muffled oars at nightfall. 40 men remained behind at the fort to keep fires going and then to destroy anything that was left in the fort. They left the Fort Mifflin flag flying as they escaped to New Jersey as well. Therefore, so while the remains of Fort Mifflin were captured by the British, the fort never surrendered. As a result of this 6-week delay and 6-day bombardment, General Washington and his men were able to escape, and they made their way to Valley Forge for the winter. Some actual sorted solid shots. There's a small model of a chevaux de frise. This painting behind there shows you how these were implemented to prevent the British Navy from... And here we have an actual piece of one of those chevaux de frise from the Revolutionary War. Chevaux de frise fragment was found in the Delaware River near Fort Mifflin in 2007. That is the actual log and the actual point tip. That artifact right there might very well have sunk a British ship in 1777. This enlarged painting is entitled The Bombardment of Fort Mifflin, 1777. It brings to life both the bombardment of the fort as well as the explosion of the HMS Augusta. Now, after the American Revolution, this earthenworks fort was rebuilt. It was garrisoned during the War of 1812. It was used as a Union prison during the Civil War, and there was a prisoner who was hanged here. He had fought for the Union, but was a deserter and had killed a couple of people during this time. During World War I and World War II, the fort was used to store ammunition, and today it is a historic battlefield. Most of the buildings here at Fort Mifflin were constructed sometime between the late 1700s and the mid 1800s. This area here was discovered in 2006. It is one of the oldest areas of the fort. Now, while the stones in here might not be quite that old, it is believed that this tunnel in this area here goes back to the pre-revolutionary times when the British first built this fort, and then later the Americans overtook it. It was later used, and, the stones were implemented and was used during the Civil War as a prison, but it had remained buried for a very long time until it had been accidentally discovered in 2006. Gotta say, it's somewhat overwhelming in some ways, but it's such a majestic feeling being here at this site that is so tied to American history, the American Revolution. I don't know, there's something special about it. These rooms, they're so cool. It's like in a cave. I guess it's kind of the point. There's a more full-scale model of what a chevaux de frise looks like. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you disliked, hit the dislike button. This has been another adventure in TV land here at Fort Mifflin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right just outside of the Philadelphia International Airport. I thank you for watching. Until next time, that's a wrap.